theories or school of thought about the plot. But we can subsume that at least there are three main characters. The Shulamite, who is the lady in question, Solomon, and a shepherd boy. The particular dynamics of that relationship, it varies. Some says Solomon won the lady. Some say it is just between Solomon. But as in line with many holiness scholars, we agree the approach we took is the fact that this is about a young countryside lady with a lover, which is the shepherd, and Solomon trying to come into the picture. That's not the main thing we are looking at here, but we'll quickly go through the book. We are not going to read everything, but it's something we can read, but for the interest of time, but we just go through it one by one. If we look at chapter 1 of the book, definitely it's about love. Can somebody read the first 4 verses? I have a soldier of readers, okay? Brian, it will be your turn. Our army of readers, rather. Yeah? Verse 1.
The songs of song, which is Solomon's. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. Because of thy savor,
The savor, yep.
savor of thy good ointments, thy name is as ointment poured forth. Therefore do the virgins love thee. Draw me, we will run after thee. The king hath brought me into his chambers. We will be glad and rejoice in thee. We will remember thy love more than wine. The upright love thee.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that opening tells us, confirms part of what we, in case anybody have not read it recently, the fact that it's about love. And I don't want to forget this. You might be wondering, why? Why is God putting a book about a relationship between a man and woman in his book? I thought this book is holy. That's what some people will think. Yes, it's holy. It's good to establish the relationship between man and woman is established by God. Whatever you are seeing in the scripture, in the culture, Hollywood, everywhere, is an abuse of the original. So the lesson we are learning today is the way it should be, the way it is, the way it should be normally. You don't have to block the way. So looking at it here, how will you summarize the nature of the mature love within the context of God's plan for marriage? How would you summarize the mature nature of love within the context of God's plan for marriage? I started by saying that everything you are learning about the culture, about love, about romance is wrong. What the Bible puts is the way it should be. What is the nature of what we have here? Yes, we're going to be a little bit sprint. We're going to sprint tonight. So if you have an answer, you speed it out quickly. Before. The question is, can you summarize the nature of the mature love within the context of God's plan for marriage?
I would say it's about commitment to start with.
Thank you. It's about commitment. It's about lifelong commitment to each other. Sorry, Esther. My daughter used to tell me sometimes that Some of our schoolmates are saying they have a crush. I said their brain is not even mature enough to know what love is. The culture is so messed up. But what God described, what God established it for, is for a man and woman who are committed to each other for life. And if you look at some of the first things that we saw there, verse 4, it said, draw me. Love doesn't drag or drive. Infatuation, about most of what happened, is about what I can get, what I can get, what I can get, what I need, how she can meet me, how he can meet my need. But the love God put there is about giving. It's about life commitment. That is very important. The love between husband and a wife is to be deep, committed, bond, and lasting intimacy. So, if you look at verse, I believe it's that verse 4 too, verse 3, because of the savor of good ointment, thy name is as ointment poured forth, and therefore do virgins love thee. Just to tell you the intensity of the passion expressed here based on God's love, when two people got married, they have pet name for each other. Can you? I'm not sure. Are you getting the connection we are giving here? They usually have pet names. Sometimes it will be good if you write a lot of letters where you are cutting, to go and read those letters. After some years you're married, you will laugh at yourself because you grow giddy, you go crazy, if you will, about it. Some of the things you like, you fought something. Don't forget what we said the other part. In the same way, our love for Christ, just the name of Jesus, does it elicit such kind of passion for you? As I said, part of the reason why the actual plot of the book is not very clear is not always clear who is speaking. Of course, in many places you can know this is the bride, the Shulamite, you know, this is the husband. Sometimes it's like you have some like friends of the bride or whatever answering, or some situation there that occurs inside the play, if you will. So verse 3 of chapter 1, that's what we already talked about the name. So let's leave that question for the interest of time. Many of the passages in the Song of Solomon employ images and descriptions that were extravagantly complimentary. I will use the word, they are flowery and superlative. They are sometimes like, whoa, what's really happening? Why is it like this? Of course, we talk about that is passion. What are some of the word pictures? For us to get some of the word pictures, can somebody read verse 9 to 17? Okay, you got your turn. Yeah, Godwin. Then someone else to open to the first 3 verses of chapter 2. I need another person who have not read. Okay. Highness. Okay. Read it. Go on, good Godwin.
I have compared thee, O my love, to company of horses and Pharaoh's chariots. Thy cheeks are completely with rods of jewels, thy neck with chains of gold. We will make thee borders of gold with studs of silver. While the king sitteth at his table, my spikenard sendeth forth a smell
Thereof.
thereof. A bundle of
Myrrh.
myrrh is my well, well beloved unto me. He shall lie a night betwixt and my breast. And my beloved is unto me as a cluster of camphor in the vineyards of
Engedi.
Engedi. Behold, thou art fair. My love, behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes. Behold, thou art fair. My beloved, ye pleasant. Also, our bed is green. The beams of our hearth are cedar, and our rafters of fir.
Thank you, Highness. The first 3 verses of 2.
I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. Like a lily among thorns, so is my love among the daughters. Like an apple tree among the trees of the woods, so is my beloved among the sons. I sat down in his shade with great delight, and his fruit was sweet to my taste.
Okay, thank you. So definitely both the bride and the bridegroom here appreciate each other. What role does the words of praise and appreciation play in building a successful relationship? What role does appreciation and the words of praise play in building a successful relationship? Oh, sorry.
It's going to make them to value each other and to feel appreciated.
Yeah, it is very important. It kind of cements, it's a valuable tool for cementing the relationship. Bless is the, sorry, Brasha. Yeah, yes.
I was actually going to say it builds trust also.
Thank you. It builds trust. I think that's a very good place to start. In that the words of appreciation should not be flattery. If it's flattery, it destroys trust. Yes, Sister Shari?
It also encourages, like if you appreciate somebody, it encourages you to do more.
Thank you. It encourages people to do more. As Brasha said, it has to be genuine. Flattery, just because you just want to say something sweet, and that's what infatuation does. If you see what they do there, they call you anything, they do everything. But after it gets what he wants, it's a trash. But that's not the contest. But for couple who are committed in the relationship of marriage, words of appreciation for each other, words of praise. I said earlier that you have a lot of terms. That's part of where pet names, all those kind of things come from. Sometimes you see a husband will say, oh, you are the only sugar in my cupboard, in my tea. You are the only cockroach in my cupboard. Yes, it is the only your spouse is the only person you can say that to. Am I making any sense? Being a Christian are the most romantic people. That's what this book is telling us. Because they have the real thing. It's within the relationship of marriage as God established it. Anything outside that, we will soon get that. We will soon get there. Anything outside marriage. Don't forget what I said earlier. If you are single, you read this book as an example of your relationship between you and Christ. Between Christ and the church. That's what you focus on, mostly. But if you are married, we are supposed to follow what is there. Yes, Sister Antonia.
I think I have 2 points. One is, maybe you can correct me, that I've heard some husbands will tell their wives, maybe when the wives complain that they don't, talk to them verbally, affirm their commitment or their love, their affection to them verbally. They will say, I told you I loved you. When I stop loving you, I will tell you. I will let you know. But I think that's ungodly because from what we are learning here, the bridegroom is, if we compare the bridegroom to Christ, he's expressing affection to the bride. And then also, sometimes we Christians, we think open affection, like maybe even hugging or sitting close to your husband, is kind of like a worldly thing. We don't want to do it publicly. And I don't think from what we are reading here that says a husband cannot show affection openly, or I just want to address that.
Thank you, man. Because that's part of why we started the way we started. This is about love between a man and a woman. Don't spiritualize everything. However, it's within the context of God's plan, God's original plan. If God can put this in the Bible, then a man that cannot express love to his wife, I think I will use the language of, is somebody raising up their hand? Oh, okay. I will use the language of Sister Antonia. It's ungodly. It's ungodly. I couldn't forget, I still remember, I believe it's a meeting, special meeting we have in Chicago, where it featured Bra Bob and Sister, where they interview them about relationship. And maybe it's not that one. Bra Bob asked, all the brothers here who are married, how many of you have told your wife you love her this morning? That was a quick test for everybody. Yes, Brother Ruby. I'm still going to answer your question for.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you put the Shunammite, who is she to Solomon? Because to my knowledge, Solomon had almost 1 million women. So who
almost
is she?
1,000, yeah.
Can you give us a context that those of us who don't really know who the Shunammite is, and how is she compared to all others for her to get a whole book, and the other ones that we heard about, there's nothing about them. So
Okay, thank you so much. It's for the interest of time. I mentioned it briefly when we started. That was when I said there are different schools of thought. Some people believe that this is about Solomon falling in love with a country girl and eventually win her love. While some people believe that this lady, this Shunammite, already has a spouse, which is the shepherd boy, and Solomon was trying to woo her away and she wouldn't go. That's another school of thought. It's not very specific, but we know the Shunammite is the bride. Solomon composed a lot of the songs here. How many songs did Solomon compose in the Bible? 1,006 songs. And this is the only one that made the limelight. This is the only one that made the a Grammy Award, that made the record out of all of the songs he sang. So because we don't know the detail of that, even if you read the introduction, it tells us we are not very strict about which way we are going. However, let's focus on the lesson. Maybe at a future day we might have more time to explore that. But to what Sister Antonia said, because it's a very key point of these, what we are talking about, some men find it difficult to even express how beautiful their wife is.
Continue, because the reason I raise it is because many of us are from a culture where even if you hold your husband in public, they will say, that's too much. Why don't you wait till you get
to
home?
Abokoku.
Exactly. or if you see a husband who is showing affection, they will say, oh, she's giving him a love potion. She's giving him. I think it needs to be clarified that Christians are different. We don't want a culture that will siphon us and not let us show affection to our spouse, even publicly. I remember one time when we were still having the church at our home. We came out of the service and we were in the hallway where everybody was greeting. And then my husband just came and, held me close and like this. And one of the sisters in the church said, "Stop it, we're in the church. Here now is church. We are in the house of God." And then my husband now held me, even kissed me in front of her and said, "Where else can you show love to your spouse better than in the house of God?" And that was a lesson for me because I'm also from that culture where you don't do that. It's like a taboo. But this Song of Songs, I think it's good also to let us know why it's called Song of Songs. Like we talk about King of Kings, Lord of Lords. This is a unique song that celebrates love between a man and a woman.
Thank you, man. It's called Song of Song, the best of song. That's just what it is. The Hebrew way of saying King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's what it means when they say songs of song, the best of song. Imagine, the best of song in the Bible? It's about romance. Some people will even be shocked for a pastor or a minister to say that. But thank God for the gospel. I could remember my sister Abra Kazwe of blessed memory. He really espoused this. A lot of time, he will be saying that you have to tell your wife you love your wife. When he sees somebody doing that, he will make them public example. I remember a camp meeting where they called Abraham Nodim, come here. Come on. Express the way you call your wife. She call her sweet 16, even though they are already in their 60s or even 70s. So it's not just proper, it's required. It's required. No matter how you think your wife is, there is something beautiful. I don't know why you are thinking your wife is not beautiful. My wife is very beautiful. Except if I will only embarrass her. Sometimes if I say it too much. She dressed in a way, wow. You blow my breath away. Your wife is the person you are supposed to say that to. Not outside. What people are doing for sin outside is meant for inside marriage relationship. Let her know what you appreciate about her. And I hope everybody has heard, she will like to hear, "I love you" the 16th time in a day. I mean, in a day. 16 times.